Hello, Wanderer. Today's subject I want to talk about why I don't niche down on my channel. To take you back in time a little bit here, don't worry, it's not that long, even though I am old. I came across one day a channel called G4 TV. It's a channel that focused on video games, what was happening in the world, what games were coming out, and like big conventions like E3. Oh man. Man, that thing doesn't even exist anymore. And even G4 TV. Man, I really am old. Anyway, there was always a lot of video games that they were showing on that TV, and it was really great because I wanted to play all of them. The only issue is I was very limited in what video games I had because I was a kid. I mean, I wasn't working, and any money I got, I would just kind of save up and then buy one thing that I really wanted, which was usually movies, maybe some candy, a music CD, a book, because these things cost a lot less money when compared to a video game. Now, I enjoyed the video games that I bought, but I would get bored of them because it was just the same game over and over again. And every video game that's ever created has an expiration date. I mean, you'll have all these like dungeon crawlers that'll tout that there's millions upon millions of things to do in the game, but you're not going to probably experience every single one of them. Like a very, very small minority will actually grind everything out in a video game. But there's always a tolerance where it's almost like you have to seek new adventures, like your soul yearns for it. Or at least mine does, anyway. A few years later, I started to look at YouTube a little bit more, and I saw that there were creators that were playing a multitude of video games, be it the Vanoss crew, or Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, various creators from Machinima, like CNanners, and their channels were heavily in variety content. And seeing as how I still had no money, because I was a kid, well, teenager, which is still a kid, I ended up watching and exploring these video games through them, like a let's play here and there, or like a compilation, and I always liked that, having that option. It was so nice to have that option where you weren't like left behind in like the whole video game space, because there was someone out there covering it on YouTube, which was really cool, because it does suck to be left out of things, especially with how fast the market moves nowadays. I mean, you got AAA titles being pumped out every year, and you have so many indie titles. I mean, it's always moving, and it's easy to get kind of lost in the sauce to the point of where it almost feels like you're just drowning in things to do, which is not actually a good thing. Everything should be taken in moderation. With that said, very rarely do I run into channels that I enjoy that are like this one thing and one thing only. I mean, realistically, everything has some type of variety within it, but my example would be I don't want to be, let's say, a Dead by Daylight creator that only complains about how bad the community is, or it's only like killer compilations or only survivor compilations. It's still within the wheelhouse of just one very specific game. Of course, not that there's anything wrong with going with this style of YouTube channel. It's just, I think, personally, everything has its shelf life, and you can only see so many full team wipes with, like, this killer or that killer. That just kind of gets like, alright, well, give me something new, or something to shake things up. This is where I think I started to get in tune with my nature. I knew going in for my YouTube channel, I was going to not fight my nature. And my nature is going out and exploring, see what the world has to offer, and I like to dabble with trial and error. And so when I started going forth into my kind of creative mindset, which has developed throughout the years, I knew I wanted to be a variety streamer, and, well, YouTuber as well, if you can be both of them. I'm not really sure. Some people just identify you as a streamer, and others are just, you're just a YouTuber. I think there has been a shift where a lot of people are are hybrid creators. It's just usually get labeled as one or the other by the wider populace. Then again, you have a lot of streamers that are streaming and then chopping up their stuff and throwing it onto YouTube. To me, at that point, you're just a hybrid, but well, humans love their labels. Now, obviously, the market has changed since I was like a teenager growing up, where variety content was like the big new thing, and everyone was watching Let's Plays, and you could play any game you want. You were guaranteed to have like a bunch of views and what have you. But nowadays, a lot of it is niche down, niche down, niche down. And it just reminds me of when I was growing up and I only had like one video game to play, and eventually I knew at some point I was going to get bored. Now, of course, is this the wisest course of action to take for a YouTube channel? It doesn't really matter much to me. Because my view on YouTube, or my channel in general, is I'm not in it for a business. I feel like that's kind of what most people view YouTube as nowadays. A business where you have to be growing, you have to get monetized, you have to make the money, all this sort of things, to where it's, I don't know, to me it just feels like it's more work than a creative outlet. And I like having this creative outlet, and that's why I focus on it being a creative outlet instead of some businessy YouTube channel. And of course, again, this is where all the YouTube gurus will probably be yelling at me and then trying to sell me some $150 to $2,000 YouTube course that'll make you millions of dollars, blah, 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 blah. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Just remember that if you come across a YouTube guru trying to sell you on some, for lack of a better word, garbage. I'm sure you've come across those. I mean, there's just thousands of them everywhere, and they just say the same thing over and over again. I mean, it's good that you can teach people, but then when you're trying to also sell them a course on it, I mean, it's a little weird, in my opinion. If you want to teach something, you teach that person that thing. You then don't hit them with, like, a subscription service to, like, more knowledge. That just is kind of weird. But I'm not a businessman. I'm just a simple guy doing simple things. That's all I want to do. I want to entertain one person, which is my channel's mission, play around with my little character voice that I have, or my character, and most importantly, have fun with it. So it's always fascinating to see when I get, like, sometimes negative comments where I can see that they're clearly in the mindset of that YouTube is a business, where it's like, you're trying too hard, or you'll never grow, and it's, I mean, that's the way you want to grow your channel, or that's fine. That's not my style. I'm sure if I took the advice of these YouTube gurus and all these other big content creators and what have you, could I have more subscribers? Sure. Could I get more likes? Sure. More comments? Sure. But it's just against my own nature. And in the past, I fought against my nature in different avenues. And it always felt like there was something missing. Like I was someone else. I wasn't myself. And it's real easy to lose yourself when you're chasing certain dreams. Or sometimes you're chasing other people's dreams and not even realizing it, which is very dangerous. Like, you gotta get yourself out of there as quickly as possible, because then you're gonna end up not knowing who you truly should be. Sorry if that got a little deep there for a second, but I mean, it does happen, and you gotta be careful. Because at the end of the day, all you really have is yourself. I mean, you have people you can lean on, like your parents, or if you have any siblings, but they all have their own dreams, ambitions, goals that are much different than yours. That is why, for my channel specifically, I want to capture the glory days, is the best way to put it. To have a multitude of content, to go out and explore all these different video games and mechanics, to basically go out on a little adventure here and there. And then, of course, having fun along the way, because that's most importantly. And it is actually pretty on brand for me, because I am a wandering knight. Or at least the character I play. That's why it just kind of pops up all over the place. Plus, life itself is variety. Now, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have those Groundhog Days, where it's the same thing day in and day out, but eventually it just gets stale. And honestly, I just prefer the more variety approach to things, which is why, again, my channel is a variety channel. Alright, Wanderers. To start wrapping up here, I want to say thank you to you, Wanderer. I never imagined my channel to be where it is at currently. I never had a goal. I had just ideas of what I wanted, and I just started casually posting, and then trial and error, and things started to just naturally grow over time. And there's just no words that can express how grateful I am to have each and every one of you. Even the negative comments, so long as they're not breaking TOS. The breaking TOS, well, I mean, they just don't exist anymore on my channel because I make sure to nuke all of those. And luckily, I haven't actually come across a lot of those. Of course, now that I say that, I'm sure some of you are going to view that as a challenge, and I'm going to have to put on my authority pants. And I don't like wearing pants. How dare you make me wear pants? How could you? How could you do this to me? But, joking aside, a lot of it comes down to just finding what you want to do with your channel. Be it running it through a business mentality, through a creative outlet, or maybe it's just for like personal videos you don't want to lose. I mean, there's so much to do with YouTube. You're really the you in YouTube. But I know a lot of people just always have it, or at least the main trend is it has to be a business. You have to grow. You have to do this. You have to do that. And you don't have to do anything. Let's be real here. If you want to sit around completely stark naked in your domicile, eating nothing but ice cream and pizza, you can do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you might spend half the time on the toilet, but, you know, everything has a consequence for it, of course. Joking aside, again, because I am a jokester, I'm not sure how well or how far this channel will go, but I don't plan on stopping. I just love going out and exploring video games, entertaining people, and we'll see basically what happens, where it goes from here. I'm excited, nervous, all normal human emotions. I'm not a robot. I'm not gonna pull a Quibble cop. That's probably a subject for a different day, my thoughts on AI. Or maybe not, I don't know. AI is just, it's not for me. I'll put it that way. I like the whole human experience, the good and the bad, because that's what it means to be human. And that's why it's more important to pursue your YouTube channel in the direction of what you want it to be, or at least kind of in my opinion of it. Otherwise, you're just chasing someone else's dream. But you have to be realistic too. But sometimes the chase of a dream is a lot more thrilling than actually achieving it. Because once you get to your dream, then you really know if it was worth it or not, or if there's something even more grander out there on the horizon. The future is always uncertain. Alright, Wanderers. Until next time, farewell.